Hey everybody, it's Marshall here. This is going to be my Gotham Season 2 episode 13 review, I believe. This is episode 13. A lot of stuff to break down, but I'm not going to totally break down what happened with Mr. Freeze, because there is one thing about this episode about Mr. Freeze that I did not like, which I'm going to talk about, but everything else was really great, and I'm really excited to see what they do with Mr. Freeze now that he's at Indian Hill. So let's get started. So in this episode, basically, Mr. Freeze is just a crazy person and just destroys everything. He was so awesome in this episode that I want a Mr. Freeze spinoff now. I just want to show all about Mr. Freeze. Can we have that, please? Mr. Freeze is actually one of my favorite Batman villains because he has something different than the other villains, and that's because he has a goal that is not about money, or is not about chaos, or is not about all this craziness. His goal is Nora. Now in the episode, Nora did die. She is dead. She's not coming back. She switched the canisters. She is not returning. And the one thing I didn't like about that is that in the episode, because Mr. Freeze, Victor, does all of his crimes when Batman shows up, does all of that because of Nora. He's trying to save Nora, so he does all of his crimes for her. So I feel like that was the one thing I didn't like. I don't know where they're going to take the character now that that's not there. Maybe they're just going to turn him into a hardened criminal now. Maybe he's going to have vengeance and becomes this new person that becomes a villain, I guess. I don't know. If you remember back in the 2004 Batman animated series called The Batman with Reno Romero in it, it also had Kevin Michael Richardson. Well, they also had Mr. Freeze on that show, and he was actually a very hardened criminal. You know, Nora was there, but he wasn't driven by Nora. We saw an Easter egg of him in the car in the animated series with a picture with Nora, and then he kind of went into this cryogenic accident and then became this hardened criminal. So I guess maybe they're going to try that direction. Maybe they're going to turn him into this hardened criminal now. I don't know. But that was really cool. Just go back to The Batman. Not Batman the Animated Series, just called The Batman. Back in 2004, I believe. It is on Netflix. They just added it, so you can go check that out if you have Netflix. And go check out Mr. Freeze on that show. Except he doesn't really have a cold gun. He has just, cryogenic powers. But anyway, back to what we were talking about with Mr. Freeze. Really great. Really loved it to set him up. And didn't he look just like Killer Frost? He looked almost just like her. With the eyes and the thing like that. That was really cool to see, too. The CG in this episode, also not very bad. It was actually really good CG for Mr. Freeze, the frozen capsules and all that stuff. Really like that as well. But we dive into Arkham a little bit with the Penguin. He's going through torture, mental torture, which is really cool too. But Hugo Strange having so much fun pulling the strings. And I love B.D. Wong as Hugo Strange does in this episode. He was so frightening and such a great villain that I'm thinking that he should be the villain for the next couple of seasons, basically, and do just so much fun with that. Wonder when Bruce is going to meet Hugo Strange. Maybe it's possible. I know that Lee is kind of the whole therapist with Bruce in this episode. And isn't it weird how, to me it's weird how I am the same age as David Mazouz. A little bit older though, I'm a little bit older than him, but still the same age. And I'm watching Morena Baccarin on this show right now, and I'm just this is kind of awkward because I saw her in Deadpool and she was kind of risque in that movie. And now I'm seeing her on this show and it's kind of awkward. But, it was really interesting to see that she's the therapist in Bruce's life right now. But what if that changes? She's gonna be she's pregnant. She's gonna be having a baby. So if she can't deliver with Bruce's therapy like she did in this episode, maybe Hugo Strange can join in with Bruce. Have a little awesome Hugo Strange Bruce Wayne stuff. That would be really cool. I just love the chemistry between Bruce Wayne and Hugo Strange. Not romantic chemistry, but villain, evil. It's just so cool in the comics. The villain, hero going up against each other mentally is really cool. So that was really awesome to see as well in this episode. We got a little bit more of Selina and Matches Malone. Now, a lot of people are confused of what Matches Malone means because everyone thinks, well, Joe Chill killed the Waynes. Usually in the comics, that is correct, but what happens in this episode is that Matches Malone, back in the comics, is really actually an Easter egg. Back in the comics, Matches Malone is an alias that Bruce Wayne uses to go undercover in the criminal underworld of Gotham. So he's not, it's not going to be this story, it's not going to be like that, but it's going to be similar, because here's what my theory is. I think that Joe Chill is possibly the killer of the Waynes on Gotham, but I think that what they're doing is that they're setting up Matches Malone to be that alias. Bruce Wayne will find out maybe he's not the killer of the Waynes, but he uses the name years later when he's Batman to go undercover in the criminal underworld and uses the name Matches Malone. So I think that that's what they're doing. I don't know if they're going to be doing Joe Chill or not, but it seems like maybe they'll be doing that as a little twist. Not too much of a plot twist, but kind of just a little roundabout, I think that that's what they're trying to do, but I don't know. It's not really clear yet. Other things that happened in this episode, we didn't see a lot of Enigma. I don't think we saw him at all, really. this episode. It was mostly just the Mr. Freeze stuff. I think I covered pretty much everything except for the big end credit scene at the end. But we did get a little bit more of Mr. Freeze back at Indian Hill, like I said. Hugo Strange says that he is born again. Victor Price, look at him as if he is dead and you are anew. So I thought that was really cool too. I don't know if they're going to be doing Mr. Freeze again this season. I'd say maybe do a little break on him. I like what they did with his origin. It was really nice, and I really liked it. And I think that that's going to be something that Gotham's going to be doing better with origins. I don't know if they're going to be doing Killer Croc, or maybe like Bane. They kind of already did a little bit of Bane with the Viper back in Season 1. But what villain should they do next? Because I don't know anybody else that could be done. Maybe Harley Quinn, but they're kind of doing her Suicide Squad stuff, and they're doing her origin on that movie. So I think that the next villain could possibly be Man-Bat. You could have Dr. Langstrom come in here. That would be really interesting to see. Dr. Langstrom, like a amateur scientist, Dr. Langstrom, and like an experiment with the Man-Bat chemical solution. That would be really cool. Easter eggs in this episode. There was Ace Chemicals. Really loved seeing that. And it was just, I think there was like the Matches Malone and stuff like that. That was really cool too to see as well. But let's talk about the end credit scene because everyone is buzzing about this right now. So what I think this is about, obviously we see Galavan in the tank. He's not gone. He's coming back, and possibly as a metahuman. That would be really cool to see him as a metahuman. That would be really interesting to see because they're experimenting. Like you even saw the guy in Indian Hill with 4 fingers. So they are experimenting with interesting meta people, right? But behind him in the tank, you see someone with red hair, and it is the same shape, almost the same shape as Jerome. Is this Jerome? I definitely think that it is possible that is Jerome in that tank. I definitely think like if Hugo Strange could get his hands on Galavan and like all that craziness, then he can get his hands on Jerome, right? I mean, I think that that's like obviously there. So I mean that is Jerome. I think that it will be, and now that we know Ace Chemicals exists right now in this show, it could be possible that by the time this is over, Hugo Strange could have this big thing with Jerome, maybe. I don't know how it would fit in right now, because it really is not a part of the story as of yet, but it's possible. So what do you guys think about that? Also, just because Mr. Freeze is not on the show anymore, right now at least, does not mean that they're not going to do any awesome stuff. Because we still have Fish Mooney returning in some way. We still have the Bruce Wayne, Selena Kyle episode coming up next week about the whole Matches Malone thing. So we still have a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing in the future season. But right now, Mr. Freeze is probably on a pause. So what did you guys think of this episode? Comment down below. Links up there to my other Gotham videos. Links from there to my Twitter, Instagram, Vine, vlog channel, and Sims channel. Update about the Sims channel. I will be getting back to live streaming Sims, but it's just kind of complicated right now. So I will be getting back to it. I just don't know when. But it will be coming. I just wanted to tell you guys that. Vlogs will be coming too. I just don't know when. There's a lot of YouTube stuff going on right now. I have a bunch of videos coming up, so don't forget to subscribe for those. But other than that, like and favorite this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.